the way we speak with ourselves definitely has an impact on how we feel about ourselves. And what I would like to talk about briefly in this video is how what we do has an impact on how we feel about ourselves. Specifically, and here I'm not talking about like the broad things, the broad categories of different actions we could do. I'm talking about understanding yourself and taking actions based on that self-awareness. So if there's something that you enjoy doing, but you're not doing, if there's something, a certain career, a function in society that you would love to have, and you're not advancing towards it, you're dishonoring yourself because there's a part of you that feels like, hey, this is like really important to me. I would love this. And essentially, through your actions, when you do that, you're saying like, you're not important enough for me to go out and do that. And this is like your heart's desire, you know, and it could be something that you talk about kind of casually, nonchalantly, you know, like, yeah, I kind of like drawing, or I kind of like writing, yeah, but like I don't have time, that kind of thing. And notice the but, because whatever comes after the but will be the sort of how to put it, it will be a sort of wall that you're, that's not the best metaphor, but it will be an excuse that your brain is using. It will be just an excuse. And if you think about it, if you actually think about it, you might recognize that it's just an excuse. Unless you think about it, you will be living through that filter of, but I don't have enough time, and therefore you'll really believe it. But if you take the time and you think like, okay, what is it that I want to do? Okay, yeah, I would like to do that. Okay, and why don't I do it? I don't do it because I don't have time, or it's not the right time of my life yet. I'm too busy. I don't have the money. I'm not in the right place. Okay, so let's look at these, and let's look at these reasons and think like, is this really true? Like, or not, is this really true, but is this a legitimate barrier? Is there no way of overcoming this? Or is it just my brain making an excuse? You know, I don't have enough time. Because you always have time for what's important to you. So if you're not doing something because you don't have time, what you're really saying is, this is not important to me. And so there's like a part of yourself, you could call it the inner child, if you will, that's like spoken a lot about in psychology. Let's just use it here for this example. You have like an inner child. That inner child is the one with like dreams and hopes and desires and stuff, and like wants to be like a chef or whatever, or wants to sing really well, wants to whatever, you know, like whatever it is that you feel like, oh yeah, I kind of like this. Like that's your inner child. And your inner child, all it can do is communicate with you, because it's kind of like, you could conceptualize it like an emotional, the emotional, the emotional the emotional entity within you, right? And so it responds emotionally to the world. And there are things that it would respond really well to, that it would resonate really strongly with. The only thing is, you are the only one that can take the actions necessary in order to have your inner child have that really strong resonance. It can't act independently. It can't act without you. You're the vehicle through which it moves through the world, it interacts with the world. It's kind of like you're holding its hand. You're holding his or her hand, and or you're carrying him or her, right? You're carrying him or her. He's too, or she's too young to walk right now, but he or she can point, and you're like walking. You're like walking in like a big nature place with like loads of different trees and like lakes and stuff, and animals. And what you can do is you can walk around, so you have the benefit of having like this physical body. You're an adult, you can move, you can walk, you can like hop over stuff. and you can carry your inner child. Your inner child is the one who wants to do stuff. So your inner child is like, oh, hey, I want to go see that tree. And you're like, all right, let's go see that tree. And you're like, hey, take a look at it. And he's like, wow, that's so cool. Great, thanks. And he's like, oh, what about going to the lake now? And you're like, fuck yeah, let's go to the lake. And so because without you, it can't walk to the lake. Without you, it's lost. It's not mature enough. It's like a baby. So it can only go to the lake if you bring him or her to the lake. And the lake for you might be whatever, being really good at dancing. It could be like being a great singer, being a great writer, whatever it is for you, whatever your lake is. And your inner child maybe has been pointing to the lake it wants to visit, and you've been like, yeah, but it's not the right time now, and maybe you've been telling him or her that for like 9 years now, or fucking 20 years. What do you think that's going to do to the relationship you have with that child if for 20 years it's been saying, I want to go see the lake, and you're saying like it's not the right time? And it's like, you've been fucking telling me that for 20 years. I just want to see the fucking lake. Like, you don't care about me. Like, I'm not important to you. Clearly, because clearly. So when you do that, when you dishonor yourself, you're gonna feel that. You're gonna feel the ramifications of that, because whilst your inner child is some sort of emotional entity, if you will, it lives within you. And so you're gonna feel how your inner child feels. So if you've been dishonoring your inner child, telling your inner child through your actions that you're not important, you're gonna feel that. So there's only you have the power to make that change, and a lot can be done through the way you communicate with yourself, the way you talk with yourself. At the same time, the way you act is also really powerful. Giving yourself the gift of seeing the lake that you want to see, going to that lake, not making excuses, recognizing like, yeah, fuck, I do want to do that. I have been giving myself bullshit excuses, that I've been believing, but I've been giving myself excuses. And if I'm honest with myself, I recognize that I do want to see that lake. I do want to see that lake. And I haven't been going, and there hasn't really been a reason. Because also, like, you don't know how long you're going to live. I don't mean to like make it like, ooh, like intense or whatever, but it's true. You don't know how long you're going to live. There's no contract you signed when you were like 8, when you were like old enough to sign a contract and be like, hey, all right, so you're going to live 92 years. Okay. And you're like, oh, okay. Like, you don't know you're going to make it 92 or 102 or 112. You don't know that. You don't know that because people have short lives. So reason I'm saying that is because it's not guaranteed, and so there's that like sort of like live every day like it's your last day kind of thing. There's truth in that. Like live your life as if like Sam Harris has this great thing that he says, in order to instill gratitude within yourself, is like, imagine the last time you do something. Imagine every time you do something, it's the last time. Like now, I just thought, like, imagine this is the last video I ever make. I'm like, fuck. Like, I would want to. I'm like stumped now. I would want to give everything. I would want to like really be present and like honest and enjoy it. And so back to the age thing, like we don't know how long we're going to live. And so if we keep saying like, I'll do it one day, I don't have time now, but yeah, one day when I have kids, when I'm a granddad or whatever, you might be postponing your dream to a day that's not going to happen. And statistically, like it's very likely that a lot of people have died, and they died sooner than they promised themselves they would do something. And if those people could come back to life and you could ask them like, hey, what do you think would, if you went back, like, and you were like, let's say he died at like 30 and you're like, imagine you're like 20 now, you'd be like, I fucking do it now. I'd do that thing now. Because I recognize, having died at 30, I recognize having gone through that, and that there was no reason to postpone it. So what I'm saying is, to close this video, I'm just saying, whatever it is that you want to do, just do it. Just do it. Just start. Because you want to do it now. You want to do it now. Just fucking do that. Give yourself the gift of starting. And you don't need to start by doing it on a massive scale. There's something powerful in doing it. Even like reduce it to ridiculous if you need to. Reduce it to ridiculous. But as long as you can say, fuck, that thing that I've been telling myself I want to do for years, I'm doing it now. Like, just do it. Do at least something for yourself. Give yourself that gift.